everyone, Karen here, and today I have basic layout number 3. Now just like 1 and 2, it's going to be based on a 5x7 card front that can be turned into a couple different card styles. Now this one here is going to be a friendship card, and let's go over the pieces. So this front panel here, which is white, is a 4 3/4 by 1 3/4, and that's going to go on a 5x2. I then have these two panels here, and it's the same solid brown, and this one is 3x6, and the print is 2 3/4 by 5 3/4. Now for the main panel, I have a textured paper. This here could be a solid, it could be a contrasting print. If you're going to do 2 prints, I would do something with a very tiny print for this back, and then the bigger print here. Now this one here is 4.5 by 6.5, and it's going to go on a 4 3/4 by 6 3/4, like that. Now for the inside of the card, I have a 3 1/4 by 5 1/4, which is going to go on a 3.5 by 5.5. And then as I was cutting up the paper, I had some scraps left. So I took the scraps, and I have 2 that are 3 by 1 1/4. There's 2 of those. And then I cut 2 of the print to 2 3/4 by 1. And this is all going to go on the inside of the card. So let's glue these panels together, and then we'll talk about how you can decorate the front of this here, because you do have several options. Alright, so let me get my glue, and we'll start with this one here. Now once again, this is the 2 3/4 by 5 3/4, and that is going on the 3 by 6. I'll just use your favorite glue, and this will go in the center. Just like that. Now depending on the paper you're using, you may want to go around here and edge it a little bit in some ink. But because this is kind of a distressed paper here, it already has a lot going on, I'm not going to do anything else to it. So now I'm going to take the 4 3/4 by 1 3/4 and glue that to the 5 by 2. Alright, so we'll just glue these two together. Like that. Make sure that that is crooked. There we go. That's a little better. Alright, one more time. Get this on here straight. There we go. Okay. And the biggest panel is the 4.5 by 6.5 textured paper, which is going to go on the 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. And we'll just glue this on. Right. This in the middle. There we go. All right. Alright, so now when you are taking the pattern panel, this is going to go basically in the middle. Now you have a couple choices here. You can either do it flat and put it on some foam, and then you have this one. So I think what I am going to do is glue this one down flat and then put this one on a little bit of foam. So I don't want to make the card too thick. this is going to go about in the middle, like that. Alright, about here. And let me grab some foam for this. And I'm just going to use the thin 1/16 foam. And this is going to go on here. Now, when you do this, we have a couple choices for what kind of messaging we want to put here. Now, you can take long words and put them down, running down the side like this. This would say happy birthday going down this way. If you have some small words, grab these. Okay, as I'm chasing this around my tray. So this says just for and you. So if you have something that is separate words, you could put it going down this way. If you had a stamp that the messaging was skinny and long, you absolutely could put that on the front too. But what I'm going to do today is I'm going to spell out the word hello. And I've taken the green texture paper. There's the H. There's the O. The one L. And the other L. So I just took some letters I had in my stash, cut out hello, and I'm going to glue those onto the front. Alright, so I'm going to take this here. So we have H, E, L, L, and O. So the middle letter is the L. So I'm going to start with that. And I'll put that in the middle. And I'm just going to eyeball the middle here. Right about here. That looks good. Now I'm going to go with the top and bottom letters. And we'll put the O here. And then the second L will go in between. Line this up in the middle, like that. Now I'll put the H. I want the space here at the top of the H to match what's here at the bottom of the O. And then the E will go in the middle. Now you could do this in colored paper if you wanted to. Really a lot of choices. So now we have hello. This is going to go right here. And I'm going to put some foam behind this. Let's see. About that much. Here's one. And here's two. And once again, this was 1/16 thickness. So it won't be too thick. But it does bring something to this card when you do raise one panel off of it. Now I'm going to put this in the middle. So I'm looking at the top and the bottom here. And I'm going to look at the top, the bottom, and this side. And I want those three to be the same. So about there. Okay, now there's the basic front panel. Now we're going to put this on a 5x7 card. Now, the first two we did, the first one was a Z-fold, and you can go back and look at that video. The second one was an easel card, still 5x7 card front. So this time around, I wanted to do a tent-fold card. Now, tent-fold cards can be done a couple different ways. If you have 14-inch paper, you would simply fold this in half and cut it at 5, and you would have your tent fold. But not everybody has 14-inch paper, so I want to show you how to do that with a regular 8.5 by 11. So I started off with, I cut one panel 5x7, and this panel is 5x7.5. All right, so the 5x7 I don't have to do anything to, but I'm going to bring in my scoreboard. Scoot this over a little bit. I'm going to put this paper in here, and along the 7.5-inch length, I am going to score this at 7. All right. All right, so once again, I have one panel that is 5x7, one 5x7.5, scored at 7. So we will fold this over and give it some good creasing. Now I'm going to put some glue on the inside of the flap. Now, because I wrote on here, I'm going to make sure I put this on the front and this on the top. As I put this, nope, actually, I'm going to erase this. I'm going to erase my 5x7. All right, so I'm going to put these two together like this. So the bottom and the sides are all nice and flush. And then fold the flap over. And I'm going to give that a good press. And that will be the back of my card. So now I have a tent fold as if I had bigger paper. But, you know, if you do like to make tent cards, just go ahead and order some of the legal size, 14-inch long, paper on Amazon. And then you can just fold this in half, which will give you 7. And then once you fold it in half, then it's much easier to cut in your trimmer at 5 inches. All right, so this is going to go in the front of our card, just like this. So let's glue this down. So once you have a 5x7 card front, there's lots of things you can do with it. It doesn't just have to be a regular opening card. It doesn't have to be just a plain card, I should say. So here. Now when I folded that over, it did push my bottom one out just slightly, so I'm going to go ahead and trim that up. So I'm just going to take this. It's going to line up the bottom there. And just cut that off. So if you find it doesn't line up exactly, then you can just trim the bottom like that. So now we have our card standing up. So for the inside, let's put this over here and let it dry, get the inside stamped. All right, so I'm going to put down my 3 1/4 by 5 1/4 paper, and I'm going to make sure this is right side up, and I'm going to put this on about 1/3 of the way down in the middle. And once again, this was a Riley & Company stamp. That's really kind of fun. Let me get my black ink. I really do enjoy her stamps. They always make me laugh. Give it one more stamping just to make sure it's nice and dark, because every one is kind of thicker letters. looks good. Put this to the side. So it says, everyone needs a friend they shouldn't be allowed to sit next to in a serious situation. And I hope all of you do have a friend. I do have mine. We live in different states now, but we still laugh on the phone. But we most definitely are not allowed to sit next to each other in serious situations. We can be serious, but we do have fun. Alright, so this will go in the middle like this. Alright. Now for the inside here, this will be in the middle. But I wanted to add a little something to here. So I'm going to take these little 2 3/4 by 1, and I'm going to glue these to the 3 by 1 1/4. That's just going to go in the middle. And we'll glue this one down. That. So I do like to do a little something to the insides of my cards. I like to add a little bit of detail and bring something from the front of the card to the inside. And since the front of this card has all these panels, I thought I should bring panels to the inside here. So I'm going to take some glue, put glue on down this side, and I'm going to glue this about here. And put glue on the bottom here, just enough to hold it in place until I get it in the card. So I'm going to make this one match, about like that. There we go. And see, and that little bit, just using scraps you probably wouldn't keep, just put those in the inside of the card. Then that is now going to be the inside. And it didn't take you any more paper because it's just the scraps you had from cutting out the front, and just bring them into the inside of the card. And there we go. This will go in the middle. So I'm going to look at this corner here and this corner here to make it centered. That looks about right. Yeah, there we go. And we are finished. Layout number 3. So here on the front, you can put letters going down. You can put letters sideways. You can put short words going across. You can use a stamp that is has a saying on it, as long as it's skinny enough to fit on this panel. Any of these things will work just fine. And so as a reminder, this was layout number 1, where we had a panel going down the sides with cutouts. And this was panel number 2, where we had some panels going down the front of the card and a center topper in here in the middle. There we go. So I hope you are enjoying these layouts. If you did, give me a thumbs up. And please consider subscribing to my channel. And until next time, stay crafty. Karen